Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. I'm back with part 2 of What If Deku Was Wolverine. And obviously, in part 1, y'all can see where the direction is trending, and we're going to continue off with where we left off. So if you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a sub, make sure to leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And like I always say, I hope y'all enjoy. And we're going to get right into the what if. Let's get it. Izuku has seemingly done the impossible. It seems with the addition of Izuku Midoriya, or who they deem as the Wolverine, ended the existence of the number one hero, All Might. News would begin to spread throughout Japan. All Might has died. But of course, they keep it under wraps, saying that he passed of natural causes, that the quirk that he once held drained him so deeply that he eventually petered off and, passed away. But they all know exactly what happened. The heroes know exactly what happened. Now everyone feels as if they are in an extreme or extremely weakened state. A state that they feel they may never get out of. And that's something they'll definitely have to think about. The heroes are now on the back foot, are now in a position of, let's just say, extreme deficit. Since All For One and the League of Villains know this, they're not going to necessarily attack the heroes. They want to attack some other villains or get them on their side. This would lead to an interaction with Overhaul. Overhaul is someone that they need to speak with and, learn a little bit more about. The League of Villains would then go out with a Nomu at hand just in case to speak with Overhaul. But Izuku has a different mission. Izuku is left right here. Izuku is left with All For One and a couple others that are going to help out. More like a couple scientists that are going to help out. They begin to speak with Izuku, telling him that there's going to be something that they're going to do for him. That All For One wants Izuku to be the next in line for his quirk. Izuku is obviously shocked to hear this. At the same time, not really. He's a perfect prototype for not only multiple quirks, but also for All For One. But for now, they just want to embed him with as many quirks as possible. Quirks that would enhance his power, enhance his strength, and on top of that, his regenerative powers would allow so much more if tested properly. They begin to extract DNA out of Izuku on top of it to see if they can replicate the regenerative powers that he currently holds within him, maybe giving it to All For One himself. Maybe that can regenerate what he once lost. With that thought in mind, the experiments would continue on, and Izuku would gain powers beyond comprehension. During this time, of course, the rest of the League of Villains are handling, Overhaul. Or at least trying to get Overhaul to their side, maybe have some leeway, but that isn't necessarily going the best, course of action, and not going the best way they really think it could. But with that said, that's not the problem of All For One, and that's not the problem of Izuku Midoriya. The issue that they're going to run into, or at least what they believe needs to be done, is they need an army. An army. Now, where could they get this army? In the eyes of Izuku, he only has been taking orders. That's about it. He doesn't really know what else is going on in the world, so he's sent with All For One, in fact, to an interesting place. A place that looks like an abandoned city, but it's actually full of quirk users that believe that they should have free reign to do whatever they want. They abide by the rules of a lot of other people, and they're so in sync that they have, practically hundreds and maybe thousands of people on their side that are in perfect unison when using these quirks. Izuku would arrive with All For One, and All For One would basically greet all of these people as they practically surround them with numbers hundreds of times greater than what Izuku and All For One obviously currently are right now. And All For One, using his words of wisdom and magical words, frankly, he begins to speak to all of them, telling them what he seeks, what he wants, what he's after. And of course, initially, this doesn't work so well. This doesn't go flawlessly, but that's fine. That is completely and utterly fine. The reason for this is they not only got one backup plan, but they got two of them. First off is Izuku. Izuku begins to mow down everybody, making sure he doesn't kill them on the orders of All For One, knocking them out relatively easily. We're talking about Izuku is a one-man army and a one-man wrecking crew with quirks that are allowing him to fly, allowing him to have projectiles, and so on and so forth. He is eliminating, or at least knocking out, the army in a matter of seconds. The army falls very quickly. Izuku stands over all of them as All For One begins to speak once again as the big bad boss, Redestro, arrives. He begins to basically get everybody around back to their feet, injured of all hell, but they still stand. They believe in their leader and they want to stand with him, but out of nowhere they collapse to the ground once again. Izuku irradiating this terrifying aspects of him as if it's some sort of relentless prowl that he's just emanating beyond out or outside of his body, forcing all of them to the ground. They're terrified of the Wolverine, terrified of Izuku. All For One speaks once again, laying out his entire plan, laying out exactly what's going to happen. This world deserves better. All Might All Might is gone. All For One wants to give them that. Eventually, with some persuasion and, well, with their little secret weapon Izuku, it's not too hard to sway them in the right direction, and eventually the League of Villains now has their army. On top of that, they didn't even have to show their second weapon in mind, and which All For One is pleased about. He thought maybe Izuku would need some help, but it seems like with the quirks added onto him and, well, all that extra power, it seems that he was ready to go. And he was ready to make that stance. But what's happening with the heroes? Of course, normally, the heroes are trying to recover. The heroes are trying to figure out a way to stop everything, and they realize something. They found about 10 to 12 people, various ages, from 15 to 18 to some children even around the age of 12. They saw them near the border, about to leave on a boat. They bring them back in, and they begin to question what's going on, and they even run some tests. These children don't have quirks, but they have extraordinary powers. Powers that are insane. Powers that seem to be the evolution of a quirk. Now this is odd. Why do they not have quirks, but they have powers that are just like them, but stronger? Well, these are the escaped mutants. They're all test subjects of the government, and they fell right into the lap of Hero Society, and maybe, just maybe, they can allow Hero Society to get some sort of leg up. They begin to train these kids to strengthen themselves, gain power, but there's a difference between them and the Wolverine. The Wolverine is just a mechanism. He is a all-powerful being that is being controlled like a puppet. Someone that's going to walk down, eliminate whoever All For One points at, and will end everything. With that said, Izuku is back in the League of Villains base. Eventually, over the intercom, they hear that the little meeting with Overhaul went south, and that now it's going to be up front, just a brutal brawl with Overhaul. And of course, Shigaraki and many others struggle to a certain extent, struggle in a way. But once Izuku arrives, and on top of Izuku arriving, Gigantomachia arriving, it's over. Overhaul would be cut down by Izuku in a matter of seconds, and Izuku would hear a slight whimpering from behind a dresser of some sorts. He would walk over and in a blank stare would see a little girl. He would grab the little girl, carrying her off. But it was odd. Izuku was nice, well-mannered. He wasn't rough at all. He wasn't, he wasn't mean by any means. He brought the girl to where All For One and the League of Villains currently were after eliminating the Shiha Zaikai. And he begins to set her down, making sure that she's safe, and they even have doctors check on her. All For One is shocked. She's so powerful. Her strength is limitless. It's insane, incredible. He's actually in complete and utter awe. Of course, Izuku has a bit of a soft spot, especially it's because it's a child. And All For One sees this. He doesn't see this as a threat by any means, but he does want to put the image that All For One, or himself, is a good person. So he decides to take care of this little girl, a girl by the name of Eri, building her up, keeping her safe, and making it so that she sees the good side, quote unquote, of what they're building. They're building an empire, building somewhere that she'll be safe always, no matter what. Heroes won't fail, villains won't kill, he'll control everything. Everything will be safe, a paradise. That's what he's building. That's what All For One is making. Of course, Eri, being just a child, she has no clue if this is true, if this is false, but this big person in Izuku and All For One has saved her and is now taking care of her, so what is she going to argue about? She thinks this is great. She thinks that maybe these people do really care about her. And to an extent, All For One does. But it's for his own ways, his own malicious ways. He knows that he needs advantages, and these advantages are in front of him. Eventually, we would lead, finally, to war. War is something that's been getting set up right in front of them. And it happens far, far sooner. And that means every hero needs to be ready far, far sooner. The heroes have been building, have been creating, and have been waiting. It seems that Izuku is not the only, basically not the only project or not the only secret weapon that they have up their sleeve. It seems the heroes have some weapons of their own, have some things to take advantage of. In 2 days' time, Izuku, All For One, Shigaraki, the League of Villains, and many others will take on the heroes, will walk forward and absolutely flatten hero society in Japan for the first time ever. All For One will see the brightest day that he's seen in a long time. Something he's been searching for forever. But what will happen when Izuku goes face to face with the mutants that he saved, the ones he allowed to escape? Will that be enough to get him out of this brainwashing? Or has he been brainwashed so much throughout his life that all he is now is an empty weapon? A Wolverine that is controlled by the scariest and arguably strongest villain, not only in Japan, but the entire world. In the next part of What If Deku Was Wolverine is the finale. And you'll find all those answers in that part. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a sub, and make sure to leave a comment down below. And as always, I hope all of you have an amazing day, and I got more videos coming, more stuff coming. I got ideas already ready to go. I just got to record them and be ready for some bangers. I hope y'all enjoy, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.